we've heard on the first two amendments this morning about a lot about China and how we stay competitive as it relates to tax policy. And really, this is about how we prevent jobs from going overseas, my amendment this morning. And my amendment's pretty simple. It prevents Subtitle J from moving investment or drug manufacturing to foreign companies or foreign countries, including China. My amendment states that the Secretary of Health and Human Services must certify that no shift in investment in pharmaceutical, biotechnology, or manufacturing jobs in the United States will be lost to China or another foreign country before implementing any provisions of Subtitle J. As we've heard, China is an existential threat to our country from a national security standpoint, from a trade standpoint, from a tech standpoint, but I think most importantly from an economic standpoint. And we have to make sure we are competitive. And what worries me about the legislation that my colleagues on the Democratic side have put forth is it is going to put us at an economic disadvantage. There's no doubt about it. And it's deeply frustrating to see the partisan process that we've been through over the last few days. And I hope that this legislation does not pass. And if this bill moves forward, I believe we will significantly harm U.S. competitiveness, investment, particularly in the U.S. pharmaceutical research areas and the development of future cures. With the loss of investment coupled with the significant tax increases on export income that my colleagues across the aisle are supporting today, U.S. companies will be forced to make business decisions to relocate to foreign countries and cut jobs here at home. That's the reality. In my home state of Illinois, Mr. Chairman, it is estimated that we could lose over $17 billion in economic output, as well as nearly 58,000 jobs. The United States is the leader in supporting funding of innovation and drug development, which benefits most of the world. Just as the United States filled the innovation gap left by the European Union in the mid-1980s, I'm concerned that foreign countries like China will fill the research void we will leave behind if this bill is enacted. China is making large and strategic investments by providing corporate incentives for companies developing biopharmaceuticals domestically. China continues to recruit more than 10,000 Chinese citizens studying in the U.S. back to China to conduct competing pharmaceutical research. And China's Ministry of Science and Technology continues to prioritize bioscience research and infrastructure. And I know I heard my colleague, Mr. Swazi, talk earlier about this is a race to the bottom. It's not a race to the bottom, Mr. Chairman, in the sense that this is about who has the best economic environment to succeed in, who has the best tax policy, who is incentivizing research and innovation. And the United States leads the way on that. But if this bill the Democrats are putting forward today moves forward, we're going to be at a significant disadvantage to China and others because of their favorable tax status and what they're doing in terms of attracting businesses to China and in other countries. While our committee races to meet an arbitrary deadline imposed by Speaker Pelosi and the Democrat leadership, foreign countries like China are already preparing to fill the vacuum that the United States will leave if these reckless tax and health policies are enacted. So we need to be prepared, and that's what this amendment here today addresses. Instead of trillions of dollars in additional spending and recklessly increasing our national debt, this Congress should be focused on responsible economic policy, continuing to support the recovery of COVID-19. How do we get back to the economy we had prior to COVID? Best economy in my lifetime by every indication, Mr. Chairman. We had more people working in this country. People benefited at every economic level throughout the country. We were at an all-time high by every indication. We need to get back to that. Ensuring Americans have access to high-quality health care, not harming access to future cures, which this bill before us will do, and continuing to work on responsible trade policies that support U.S. competitiveness abroad. This is about competitiveness. And that's why my amendment is necessary here today, Mr. Chairman. This bill that the Democrats have put forward will ultimately lead to the United States losing jobs and economic investment. Instead, we must support efforts to keep the United States the beacon of innovation. Mr. Chairman, I would ask that members support this amendment to keep us in the strong economic position that we're in now, and I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. I withdraw my point of